Bonjour, everyone. Welcome to the Amazon Nomad Show. My name is Seth, and I'm joined by the lovely Gavin Sweeney and the not so lovely Thomas Parkinson. How are we all? It's February. We're going to be talking about January results, traveling, everything else in between. I've got FBA stock back in, so that's joyous rapture for me. Gav, do you want to start with your January results? How are things going? What's up with
Cool.
you?
So the return euro thing is definitely real. Our return rate was like 8% higher in January, but not as high as I was expecting. I was expecting to make like almost no money in January, where most of the money came in like November and December. But actually, we did about $170,000 in turnover. No, 150, 140 or something. And our net margin was still around 10. No, it's just around 7-8%. So I'm very happy with that, considering we had a ton of returns all from November and December come through. Because in my head, the way I see it is like I consider January's net profit or November and December's net profit a part of January's net profit as well. Because really, you suffer the backlash or the returns from the previous months all in January. So they all kind of blend together for me in as one. So I kind of like just divide the net profit between the 3 months. That's kind of like the average of those 3 months. But yeah, it's like, I think it went way better than expected. I was expecting a much more savage month, like maybe just like a few grand net profit. But actually, yeah, we made almost 10K. So I'm so very happy with that.
So
Then
why
what?
do you think the returns weren't as high? Because you'd expect them to be massive, right? Or was that just because you were saying they were in November and December and not so much now?
Well, our return rate in December was 10%, and in January it was 22%. So it was substantially higher. It was over double higher, right? But I don't know, I was expecting it to be even higher. I was expecting it to be like above 25%. But maybe because people buy shoes for people and give them as gifts, like, and if they don't fit, they can't bother returning them because then they have to give the present back. So maybe that comes into it. I'm not entirely sure, but definitely much better than expected. But
Yeah,
now the money.
10% sounds great, and 22% doesn't sound catastrophic. Like books, I think for us it's like 6 or 7%, something
Yeah,
like that.
in December or like in your book season.
Oh, just like the average across the year. It's obviously higher
Okay.
during. It's
Yeah.
higher in February and September, just because it's after textbook season. You get all those dick students who just like buy the book and photocopy a few pages and send it back. But that's just something you have to deal with, isn't it?
Classic students there. Go on, Tom. How was
Scammers.
yours? How was your Jan?
January is okay revenue wise, like it's okay to good. Profit wise, not so much because we were clearing down old stock like you cannot believe. And we started that in December, and I think I talked about that as well in the previous ones. I'm just looking right now at the return rates. So, for 2 seconds, I'm just loading up the December ones as well. So, what's interesting is like the January return rate was, oh my God, get that right, Tom. January return rate is about 8% for me across both UK and USA. And then December UK was about 4%. Whereas in the US, 2 seconds clicking the button, I put the wrong one in. Loading up and saying, yeah, so like December, we went for about 6.5 up to 8. So, like January is 8, so 6.5 in
Yeah.
December. So it might have been a bit higher in December. Obviously, I'd need to have a look through. But yeah, definitely increased in January, but probably not to the levels that you were seeing. But obviously, you're doing shoes, which would be a very high return rate. But yeah, so not too bad. We'll see how it goes. But just my big issue, or say big issue, to give you an idea, I think when we went into January, I'm doing it off the top of my head here, probably in the UK, we had about 12% of our stock over 90 days old, which isn't too bad, but we got it down to 5% by the end of January. So we cleared about 7% of the stock out, which, should we say, pretty much cleared all the profit out of January. So net profits in January would be like next to nothing. Why? We made profit cover the cost and then obviously clear out all the dead stock at a loss just because we've been sat there. And I was like, look, I just want to get rid of this stock. I want to start the year afresh and I don't want to have a problem. So to be honest, the one thing we have been doing is we've changed our repricing rules. And I can't really explain it because there are 14 rules we're using. But the idea is to manage that older stock more automatically through the repricing rules, as opposed to having to do what we did in January, which is clear down stock, because I just wasn't happy with it. I was like, we cannot be having months whereby we're clearing dead stock down. We've got to be managing this on a more systematic basis. And also we've had our new repricing analyst now, maybe for like 6 months. So that was the kind of final part of the repricing metrics that we've set up. So we've done the kind of like maximizing profitability, build out the reporting around that. Now this is about clearing down old stock, build out the reporting around that. And then what we're doing is we're just watching for any anomalies, tweaking it, and then at the same time documenting the whole process for obviously our seller academy. So we'll share it within that. So pretty happy, but no real profits out of January. So, but I think there are it depends how you look at the business. If you ever look at it on one day, there will be days where you're not profitable. If you look at you should really be looking across the whole year. So you have ups and downs.
Yeah.
Seth makes all his money in textbook season, whatever it is. Gavin loses it all again, and then January the returns rate. But obviously not. He's done a really good job. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
We make money every month. But it's funny that you did that. That you did that last month. That's what I pretty much have been doing last week and this week, just because I realised that we had just so much old stock. I'm talking 6 months plus.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned that you've got a repricing analyst, so you've got a member of staff or a new VA. Is it a new member, or you actually hired someone new for it? And all they're doing is looking at pricing. That sounds sexy. I want one of those. I'm not sure I can really afford that, but I'm essentially the repricing analyst. But I don't know if it's very important, right?
The way to think about the whole equation is if you're having to go in there and do the analysis, then you're the bottleneck in the business. But if you can build out a formulaic approach to the way you do your repricing, and let's be crystal clear, like what we're not saying is they will ever be as good as you, no, but if they're 80, 90% as good, then you're going to get the majority of the benefits of it with like no cost. And then as your business grows, you can then just hire someone else and train them on that skill set. So, you're going to lose your 10% edge, but like you're going to do it twice as many people. So we have, obviously I'm doing like 3 million in the UK in a year and like 1.5 in the US at the moment. So call it 5 million US in total sales. So we have someone who's full time, just one person who does 4 hours in the UK and 4 hours in the US. And they seem to be doing a good job. Like I'm not complaining, I'm quite happy with it, and they're getting everything they need to be done. And we are seeing the benefit. And if I define what does benefit look like, well, we are seeing that our overall ROI has increased since she started. And then number 2 is the fact that we've seen that like now, because of the way she works, we can see like the old stock, the count of old stock and that being decreased. And when we look at those products that are sold, we can jump into the keeper charts and go, yeah, it probably sold at a fair price. Like even if it lost money, we'd be like, the market's changed, we're happy with that. It's not a reactive, should we say, oh my God, I've got so much old stock, quick jump in. It's like, no, we're clearing it down in a systematic way over a certain age period. And the number of units getting to 180 days is very, very small. And when you get to 180 days, we get very, very aggressive. But we managed to clearing it out before that. So I'm quite happy with it. Are we there yet? No, we're still documenting it. We're still testing the edge, the things. But it's all part of like building a more effective business, systematizing. Makes sense?
Makes a lot of sense. It's got my brain whirring a bit because I'm thinking maybe it is worth me actually hiring someone full time, because I think pricing obviously for all of our business is very important, but I feel like it might be more important for books because the ranges in the selling price of books is so variable, like day to day and throughout the year, depending on seasonality and stuff. And also, if it means that I have to spend less time stressing and doing those reactive moves, for example, I just hadn't looked at my repricer for ages, and then I realised there's just so much stock that shouldn't be at say $99. We can profit selling that book for 30, and I was just going in and just doing these blanket rules of for that 180-day stock. I was just putting so on Be Cool, you can just like set the cost and put a dollar amount on top or a percentage amount on top. I don't know if all repricers you can do that, but I think it's particularly good with Be Cool. It's nice and easy to do in bulk. So I'm pretty much losing like $2, $3, $4, $5 on loads of books, but we're clearing down that stock and it's helping our turn rate, right? So it's going to be good for the future. So as you said about your net profits being down, it's going to benefit us in the long run. But I'm thinking that could be a good move, hiring someone just to take that over, because that is if it's easily going to cover the cost of the salary, isn't it? And then some.
Yeah,
and then
I think the way to look at the whole question for you is like, is it worth it? Is go back to a couple of products that are sold and ask yourself the question by looking at the keeper chart going, if I had managed this better over the last 1, 2, 3 months, could I have got more money? And if you're looking back at that keeper chart going, yeah, I could have done, because I just did, I did a reactionary move now to get it sold, rather than looking back and be like, oh, well, there were opportunities where I could have sold it better at a higher profit. And then you work out the profit difference and be like, would that cover the cost of the salary multiplied by the number of SKUs? would that cover the salary? Then you'd be like, yeah, fine, it's worth it. But again, it's building systematized things, and we've got a really good process. Which the other thing which I can kind of tell is just by looking at certain numbers, I can see if my repricing analysis is overloaded or not. So it helps me to understand her workload. So like we were looking at hiring 2, and we're like, no, actually she's fine because she can get through it all. It was like things like she was doing keeper analysis for like 4 minutes to start with. I was like, you've got 30 seconds. That's it. Like 30 seconds per thing. Like you've got to do it in 30 seconds. And by the way, like, and she only has to do that once per product now, every like month. So, and it's not even per product. If it sells, we don't care. It's only if it's literally the way we set it up. The repricer goes, hey, this product needs checking because it hasn't sold. We're like, okay, cool. Like, let's do that. And she just manages workloads, and we can see how much work she's got. And every day she reports on it. It's quite interesting. So I'm starting to learn. We're building out. We're still just tweaking it, but also I'll share it within the Seller Academy once we've got it live, and that'll be fun. Again, it's just about building systems automation. And the real question I ask is, how do I know my repricing's working? That's the question. And like, regardless of what Be Cool, SDK, whatever you use, we want to know, am I getting the best for my prices? So there's 2 metrics you're going to look at that. Number one is when we use our SKUs, we write what sale price we're going to look in. So the way we do it now is we can do an analysis of what sale price we thought we were going to sell it for and what we actually sold it for. And every day, my repricing analyst will jump into all the sales for the previous day, looking for the biggest variation between estimated and actual. So we can do that analysis, and then we can jump in and see, again, we're looking for edge problems. So like, did the repricing work as expected? Are we happy? And then the other one that we're looking at is, so that's that. And then the other one is we look at profitability. So the ROI based on, so under 90 days and over 90 days, we're looking at what was the profit estimated for the products that sold that are under 90 days old. What did we thought we were going to get, ROI, and what did we actually get? And then we look at over 90 days, what did we think we were going to get and what did we actually get? Why? Because things over 90 days, we generally say you're probably going to clear down. Things under 90 days, you're probably going to maximize for profit. So we're looking at the variances between the estimated and the actual, and we're looking for edges. And then what we do is we jump back in, look at the keeper chart, and all we're trying to ask is, do I feel that the repricer did a good job? Or do I feel that, like, the graph is going, Like, it's when it does that, you're like, we should have gone a bit higher, or like maybe the market's gone down. If we just put a minimum price in, we could have held up and got it a bit better. And we're looking for those anomalies where we're like, how can we refine this process? We've done a lot of like problems. Like I think I told you, like we lost $2,000 in one day because of one mess up. But that's like the cost of learning how to get this right, so that it'll help us in the long run. So yeah, that was good. Gavin, what are your thoughts?
That sounds really damn interesting. Something that, I can definitely see myself wanting in the future. And I see what you mean by being more proactive than reactive. Because there's so many listings that when we're sourcing, for example, like the listing that I'm looking at that you might already have, your repricer might be liquidating that at the minimum price. And I might be seeing a moment where I can hop onto that whilst it's at your minimum price. And then sell at the higher price, right? So it's like having someone who has the knowledge to come in, analyze graphs, see if you need to be a little bit more patient, and see where the listing is going to go and then sell it. Or you could proactively clearing out that listing as well if the offer is increasing too quick, for example. Yeah, I like the idea of that a lot.
Yeah, one of the things we do have internally, like the things that she does, is we have an internal number where it's when they do the keeper analysis, they're like, we ask the question, if we can set a minimum price and hold the product for 1 month, will we achieve an increase in the ROI versus the market price today? That's it. So on a case by case, on an ASIN by ASIN level, we will be setting min pricing because for certain products, because we feel that the market has crashed and we can hold up high and achieve a higher price within 30 days. And she's doing that all the time. And the whole point behind it is that you're kind of, when you do like match buy box or whatever, you're kind of like going with the market. But there are a lot of opportunities whereby too many people come in and crash the price and like, whoa, we should hold on because this is a fast selling SKU. Let's hold this price high. And then that's where you start bringing your ROI back up again. So we're looking at velocity of stock. We're looking at trying to improve the ROI again, estimated versus actual, overall portfolio of products ROI increasing over the course of the month by month. And then the final one is managing the age stocks. So that's a really important part. And we're seeing it. It's been costly, I won't lie. We made a lot of mistakes. But what I do realize is we're building out a system whereby I don't need to be there. And that's going to be really important to me.
Here's a top tip For those who are on like super fast sellers, if you want to go a bit rogue in terms of like how you manage your listings, if the offer count is starting to increase rapidly and you see it don't stopping, that means everyone's already bought it or is still buying it. What you could sometimes do is just immediately nuke the price about from like 40% to 10% ROI. You price everybody out from buying the item. Once people start matching you at that low price, flip your product back up to the higher price. The idea is that you're forcing other people to sell their stock at a lower price, and it's not profitable for anybody else to buy. So nobody else is buying it, so the supply will then diminish. But again, I don't do it that much myself anymore because I've just got a bit lazy with it, to be honest. But it's a very good strategy if you're going very deep on products and you want to get sales pretty quick. Because the reality is, if the offer count is going up so quick and it's just started to tank, it's going to hit that 10%. It's just a matter of when. You're just giving it that helping push.
I think also as well.
Is that even allowed?
Yeah, it is. Because everyone matches the buy box. So what you could do is you could get your repricing analyst to watch that and be like, when this happens, write down the skew and come back in 4 days' time. Okay, cool. It's really high now. Okay, fine. We're going to crash our price for what, an hour? And then what happens is everyone else's prices come down. And once 2 people are on the buy box at that, they're both matching each other. Then you go back up again. And what you see is that the velocity of sales increase when the price decreases. So the competitor's going to clear their stock down a lot more. It's not a nice thing to do. People will hate that.
And nobody's buying it either because they're priced out of the item, right? Because anybody else who's looking at that item, they're like, oh, it's only 10% ROI, so they'll skip it. But if the price is trending down and it's still like 37%, most new sellers are like, oh, that's a good item, because they don't understand keep it well enough, so they'll still buy it. So actually, it's not a nice thing to do, but you're helping other new sellers by keeping them away from the listing. So it's kind of like, it's not a nice thing, but it's also a nice thing.
No, it's because basically, Gavin, you're just lying to yourself. Basically, it's because it's on a leads list and everyone fucking bought it.
Yeah.
That's probably why. And then new sellers should be looking at it going, oh, I can see that new offer count going up. And they'd be like, no, I'm not going to buy it. But
no, they don't. It takes a while for VAs to even start picking up on that properly because I think they get into the rhythm of sourcing quick that they forget to look at the key checks. It's like, stop giving me this piece of shit. I don't want it.
There's this awesome thing that occasionally happens in the world of books where you'll get a seller, like a new seller, will list a load of really fast selling or profitable books, but they'll say in the description, this is like a Greek annotated edition or something, and they'll list the condition as very poor. So I noticed this happening a couple of times, but they'll list the book super, super low because they know that the mega sellers, like your Better World books, your World of Books, your Thrift books, their repricer will automatically drop the price massively to where this Greek annotated book is, which isn't even a real book. So whenever I noticed those listings, I would download all the books that seller is selling, quote unquote, and then I'd just go on every single one of those and buy up all the mega sellers offers. So some days I would buy 100 to 200 books at like bargain basement prices. I'm talking $6 to $20 and sell them all for like 50 to 200. So in one morning sometimes, and this would all happen at like 9 a.m. GMT. So most people in America are asleep. So other booksellers aren't doing it. So I was picking up all of these juicy deals, probably making like $3,000 to $5,000 maybe in a morning, like potential profit. Doesn't happen so much now because Amazon have knuckled down on it, but that was pretty awesome. But yeah, back to repricing. I am definitely going to hire a reprice analyst now because it sounds like that's going to improve ROI, cause me less stress, and we can build systems to just improve profitability of the business. So I'm glad we had this conversation, and anyone else listening who's got that sort of capability to increase their bankroll salary, like, you know,
it's not much. You're paying what, 500 quid a month tops.
You could probably hire someone part-time if they're willing to do it as well, because I don't think it would only take someone a couple of hours a day, probably, to just like fix things up and improve things. So
you think about it, like we're doing 7 figures. I've got a full-time repricer and just doing part-time work effectively per marketplace. It's quite efficient.
Yeah. But so when you hired the person, did they have any prior experience of like pricing?
Like the way we built it is quite
Amazon, or
the way we built it is quite simplistic. Like in the fact that we wanted them, like we literally laid it out. It's like I literally said to my repricer analysis, like, look, welcome to the company. You've done the training, fantastic. You've done some sourcing, fantastic. I want you to be a robot. Like literally, I want you to be a robot. Why? Because I want you to come in and follow the rules exactly as I've said. Like, do this, and if this, then do this. If this, then do this. And like, that's all you're going to do. And like, when we first started off, and she was like, but Tom, this. I was like, okay, cool. Go back through the rules. And she's like, and she was like, okay, what does the rule say here? And she's like, I was like, yeah, you're jumping the rules. Stop jumping the rules. Follow the process, literally word for word. Like, because you can get into the Gavin level of like keeper analysis, but that isn't scalable because Gavin's got 2.5 years of non-stop keeper analysis, like hardcore. And I'm like, I can't repeat Gavin's level of keeper analysis, but I could probably get to 70% of Gavin's keeper analysis pretty simple if I choose the 3 things that I want to focus on. And what do you focus on? You focus on competitors, stock levels, and their prices versus your buy price, and then you focus on the keeper. And really, all you're focusing on is the historic price of the product and the new seller rank. That's it.
80-20 principle, baby.
Exactly. Like, and I just want to make it simple. And I accept that I'm probably going to lose some money sometimes where I could have made some more, but I'll make more money on the 80 and lose a little bit on the other ones. So I'm generally happy with that. Yeah. What else are we talking about? Go on.
One more question on repricing, so because this is more important for me, I think. But so I'm assuming that a lot of your pricing rules are profit margin based. I'm just assuming that. But for me, I'm very scared to do that because sometimes we'll buy a book for $20, want to sell it for $40. Sometimes we'll buy a book for $5 and want to sell it for $100. So I'm always very reticent to put profit margin rules on our books because I feel like it's going to affect profitability, even though I know that it's a process and a system and it takes human error out of the equation.
Yours is quite simple then. It's like you're just going to come in and put a pricing, like set a price, a min price. And then all you're going to do is to say, we review it again in X number of days if it hasn't sold.
Yeah. But the problem is we've got no one who's doing that, which is why this conversation is a good one, because if I know someone's taking care of that, but also that's still really difficult when we're buying hundreds of books a day to reprice. So that's quite a lot. Actually, one person can do that. That's fine.
Let me ask you a quick question. How many books are you repricing a day? Buying a day? Top of your head, like ASINs, not individual books, but ASINs.
At the moment, anywhere from 100 to 150, but that's probably going to go up to like 200 plus.
Let's call it 200 plus.
Let's say 200.
Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday?
Monday to Sunday.
Okay, fine. So 200, you were doing 1,400, aren't you? So 1,400 a week, is that right?
Yeah.
So
let's be ambitious. Let's say 300. Let's say 2,100. 2,100. That's where we're going to get to.
So 2,100 a week divided by 40. So you're going to look at, they're going to do 52. So they need to be able to analyze a book in a minute, effectively.
That's doable.
You need to be able to analyze a book in a minute. Now, it's pushing it because you have such a large number of SKUs. Like, I don't know, I think I probably have like 10,000 SKUs in my whole inventory. Gavin, I think you're probably a bit less than me, wouldn't you?
But the caveat to that is that when we buy a textbook, we know exactly how we're going to price it, because usually there's a new offer or an Amazon offer, and we're pretty much every time going to price 10 to 15% below that offer because we know it's going to sell. It's a fast selling book. So those ones only need 30 seconds of analysis. So we can.
So if you can get it
time down a bit.
Yeah, if you can get it down to 30 seconds per analysis, then you could potentially. So the one you got to look at it. So you're doing 2,100 ASINs effectively, or SKUs in a week.
Yeah.
Divided by a 40-hour working week equals 52 SKUs per hour worked. Now, if you can get it down to 30 seconds analysis, which I think you might be able to, you are pushing it, but you might be able to because software is not the fastest thing in the world, then what you're looking at is you have capacity for 100. Now, what we're not saying is increase the capacity of books that you're doing. What we're actually saying is that you're going to have 52 per minute or per hour you've got to analyze, which is new. And then perhaps maybe if your ASINs haven't sold after, let's call it 2 months, it'd be good to see what your average turn rate is, call it 3 months, that you go back in and review all those old ASINs. And you do that exact same process again, but your process now is about changing that min price because the market conditions have changed. You're like, if you do a really interesting analysis right now, if you look at Amazon Seller Central inventory planning, and you do days in inventory, you're going to see how average your turn is. It'll be like, I think mine's like 60 in the UK, or probably like 45 in the UK and like 68 in the US. So basically it means that my stock's generally lasting on average 68 days in the US. So what I could do is I could check my stock as it comes in, cool. And then at 68 days, 2 months, for example, I could check it all again. or should we say only the stock that hasn't sold, and then I reprice it again. And all I'm doing is saying we're going to go through those rules that we created that will allow me to see that. That's all I'm going to do. Just 2 checks, one on an inbound, one on 60 days, done. And all I'm going to do is changing the repricing, or changing, for you're not even really changing the repricing, you're changing the min price, because the min price is your estimated sale price. And if it hasn't sold,
we've got to change the max as well, just because the way because we don't want the offers necessarily to drag to the higher offer. We want, because you know how the repricer works, with they can't see the top 20 offers, right? So you need to cater for that. But that's getting more technical. But I understand where you're coming from. That all makes sense.
Right, should we carry on?
Yeah. Also, my January went quite well, considering I didn't have that many books. I think we did 120k, which was 30% up on last year. But it should have been more, because with books in January, and we did 200k in August, so it should have been more. But the eventualities of running an Amazon business, that you don't know when they're gonna screw you over. But it's all good. We still made a lot of money, so that's fine. And
we still made half of that in profit.
not quite that, but
there's
decent profit margin.
10% happy.
Yeah.
Seth's like 10%. Oh, I wouldn't get out of bed for 10%.
Term rate's lower though.
I know.
It's all
cool.
It's all,
February then. The reason why I want to put this, like, last year in the UK, February was absolutely savage for UK. And now I'm seeing it all over Twitter, where there's just blood in the water, people screaming, complaining, crying, even calling sellers out. They're literally calling sellers out on Twitter.
They haven't called me out yet. I'm normally called out.
I've had that before, yeah. But I mean, like,
so is Tom.
Normally it's me. I'm like the one with the repricing problems, and they're like, Tom, why are you crashing the listing?
I think maybe it goes in like waves. The trend of like calling you out, Tom, is over, so they can't do that again.
Because I don't
know. It's weird how it works. It's weird how it works on Twitter. I'm telling you.
Tom's old.
It's like, okay, so February is obviously a savage month. There's many people struggling, and it's like, what can they do to sort of improve their situation for the next few months? Because really, this is a period where, as an Amazon seller, you are by far most likely to quit. This is when your stress levels, your cortisol is all running high. You can't sleep. Like, maybe you're just losing money and you don't know what's happening. You got 40k products and none of it's selling. It's like, what can you do? What can you change? I'll start first with this. The first thing I would recommend to people is, if you have a low return rate, go for turn through of items, meaning just accept a much lower margin and be proactive in clearing listings if they tank. Stop sourcing on major websites like Cult Beauty, the Hook Group type websites. Look fantastic.
Boots.
That kind of stuff. You have to go more smaller stores, go more niche, try find stuff that not everyone is doing. If you're only doing what everyone else on Twitter is doing, then you get the same blood in the water, right? But if you want a different result, you have to go through the pain, you have to struggle a bit more and find something that not everyone has found.
Yeah, that's great advice. That is always sage, isn't it? No, it is. As in,
I just know your response is like, yeah, pretty much.
No, it is, because the thing is, people like, it's obviously just not. It's not easy to not follow the crowd, follow the herd, but like, you just need to put that extra bit of work in to find those opportunities that other people aren't looking for. I always say that with books, you don't want to just sell the fast selling textbooks, because everyone's looking at those, so the profit margins are going to be lower and they're going to be harder to find. But my February advice, because it's tough for booksellers as well, because you've just had a great January. Prices are super elevated, so you won't be able to find many deals, because all textbooks are right up here, because all the offer counts lower. Like, my advice is just book advice, is just to go for like not textbooks during February, and try and save up a little cash pile, because prices are going to drop February, March, April. Like, does that happen with OA for you guys? Like, even though your stuff isn't selling, do prices go down, so then there's some like more opportunities at like retailers or even on Amazon to do like A2A? Is that a thing?
It's a huge market. Yeah, I some yes, some no. Like, I don't think so. I
will add as well, stress management, because I've been talking to a few people. If you start sourcing and you're already pissed off and stressed about how bad it's going, bro, you're not going to find anything. Like, relax, man. Go do some meditation or something.
Go for a massage.
Yeah, go for a massage.
Go to Thailand.
In Thailand for a massage. That'll increase your stress levels way higher, actually, which you'd be surprised.
You have like a Thai girl walking on the back of you, like a little old woman, like, come on, Thai. Like, ah. You won't be stressed about Amazon. You'll be stressed that your back's broken. It'll be bad. I don't see. Look, I don't really get involved in sourcing at all, and I've not done for years. We do see, like, I hear the complaints, should we say, like, from the staff. Oh, it's hard to sell. I'm like, it's always been hard to buy deals. I think the one thing I could probably share with everyone is you need a certain level of profitability within your business, and you should have a lot of cash coming from Q4 now into this. So what you might find is it's harder to make the same margins you were making in Q4, but what you can do is you can reduce your ROI down for the products you're buying, but increase your spend to buy more products. And if you think about it, if you have £1,000, for example, at 50% ROI, where you're going to make £500 profit, fantastic. Well, what if you make £2,000, but now at 25% ROI, well, it's still £500 profit, fantastic. You're still making the same amount of profit, you're just spending more on lower value items. This is a dangerous game, by the way, because people tend to do this and then keep going down and down and down. And there's diminishing returns. You obviously want to bring it back up again, but if you are struggling, you can reduce down your ROI, but you have to increase your spend with it because you're still making the same amount of profit. That's the only advice I can really offer. But again, if you're going to go after all the stuff that everyone else is going after, you're going to have problems. But I think follow the crowd in regards to the strategies, but do the opposite of the crowd in regards to where you source and what you're doing. Find those niches that no one else is talking about. Don't be asking anyone, where should I be selling? Because whatever they say is where you shouldn't be selling, because they're telling everyone to do that, unless it's
Stay
in
away
private.
from the collective whinging as well. Like, if you're in a group where everyone just whinges, the environment you're in is horrendous. You're setting yourself up for like just super failure. Like, just get away from environments, man, and work your own way through.
Yeah,
exactly.
Networking with positive people, or just surrounding yourself with more positivity.
That's why I'm with Gavin. He looks really positive now with his hoodie up.
Some gangster, bro. I'm just about to go like grab my a revolver and go like do some gangster Nikos stuff.
What, in Mexico? Good luck.
I don't think get a revolver. I was trying to think of like some gun weapon name, but I just couldn't think.
Should we do some travel advice?
Desert Eagle.
Yeah, Desert Eagle. There we go. Badass.
What's the travel advice?
Can I just whilst you both think of travel advice, because I obviously don't have anything to give at the moment.
Seth,
flights are super expensive from London. Flights are so expensive. From London to Gran Canaria was £600 return, £600 sterling return when I looked, like, just for going next month. Outrageous. Either way, I just wanted to ask, what football shirt are you wearing? Not that I care anything about
Mexico City. I'm going to go to the gym afterwards.
Oh, Mexico City.
Yeah. Well, Mexico. It's like the Mexico.
Oh, it's the Mexico set. Oh, it doesn't look like
World Cup.
So flights are super expensive. What? Gym talk.
What gym do you go to?
The one in my apartment downstairs.
You got one in your apartment? That's sick.
It's got a proper studio. It's got all the mirrors. It's got weights. Everything. It's not great, awesome. But it works. And it's generally only me in there, so I'm pretty happy.
It's probably nothing on Gymbox. We've got a residential DJ that plays like every night.
Not that. I have to take the weights off and put them back on again myself. It's really hard.
It's high class over in London. But yeah, so I don't know what flights are super expensive where you guys are, because it's crazy.
Points, Seth. The thing is,
like, but I'm talking for the mere mortal who might not have points or want to spend points, Seth, on flights to Gran Canaria.
You do 130,000 in but you make more money in cash than we do in points.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I'm trying to book a flight quite nearby, so I can't book on points. So.
But you said the mere mortal, but you earn way more money than the mere mortal, so it's kind of like, that's not relatable for you.
Yeah, but I pay myself way less than a mere mortal.
So that means you have more money in the account for business trips.
Yeah, true, actually.
Seth.
Hopefully the taxman's watching.
I was looking during
half term.
I'm on Skyscanner right now, and I'm looking Monday the 13th of March, which is literally a month away. Stansted to London, to Gran Canaria, and then back again, £88. I don't know where the hell you're looking. Right.
It's because I was looking 2 weeks ago and I was looking at half term. Okay.
Well, there you go. Come on, you're not stupid.
And
you
I only
realised that insanely expensive.
Yeah, I know. But either way,
I'm surprised you managed to run a business with a mindset like that. That's like all the books I look at, they're cheaper on Amazon. It's just I can't do this. It's impossible.
Yeah,
you're getting wrecked.
Pretty negative.
Yeah, negative. Right,
yeah,
travel
negative outlook on flights.
Guys, I am going Medellin on the 19th of March. Have any of you guys been to Medellin?
Dangerous.
Never been to Colombia. Sounds fun. Watch Narcos.
My goal is to not get scopolamine.
What is that?
We talked about this on the last week's one.
Did
It's
we?
that drug that makes you do anything if you snort it.
Yeah.
Or take
If
it.
you snort it.
No, they're
take
drugging you with it, Seth. They're not gonna like make you snort it. But yeah. So it's like some sort of like truth serum that makes you
spike your drink. Yeah. You can go and tell people to rob a bank and they'll go and do it. You'll give them the Desert Eagle. They'll go into the little
not the revolver
bank and they'll get the revolver out. But I'm sure you're not going to get a scopolamine. So I don't think you're the prime suspect. A 6'5" male. I'm 6'6".
What, bro? What? I'm 6'6".
Yeah. Either way, good luck in Medellin. Don't die, please.
Seth just mad because you're a midget, Seth.
Tom, where are you going?
I'm off to Miami next week for Miami Sales.
Going to the conference that I went to last year.
Was it good? Do you enjoy it? It's like one day,
yeah.
And it's like everyone talks for like 30 minutes. It's really quick. There's a lot of people going, which is cool. But like,
it's more about the party than the event. And you're also in Miami, so it's going to be good crack, good fun.
Damn right.
Very but also expensive over there, though.
Yeah, I know my hotel. By the way, I booked my hotel on points. I'm definitely not paying for it. It's like $600 a night. I was like, whoa.
No thanks.
Yeah, I'm all on points. I'm not paying that. But yeah, crazy. But and then after that, I have to go fly wherever in the USA I can to get my Mexican visa sorted out. So I need to sort that as well. So
no,
you should vlog the seller conference.
I'll kind of do some content.
Nice.
Between
we meet plenty of people.
Traveling in Latin America on planes is pretty expensive. I was quite surprised at that.
Go on, scare me.
It's like, wait, hold on. So I'm looking at a return ticket to Colombia for 4,300 pesos, but then they charge an additional like
4,300 pesos. That's not actually that much, is it?
No, but the additional is what I was going to get to. The real charge is on checked baggage. They charge over $100 per checked baggage.
Yeah, that's. I remember having to do that on internal flights to Mexico. Charge a lot. Worth it.
So I found it. Okay, this isn't checked baggage. Return flight, Mexico City to Medellin, 215 quid. Skyscanner.
Tom is the
in a month's
Skyscanner
time.
King. Skyscanner King. Gavin's the keeper king.
I just use it.
I'm the beer king.
You guys are fine.
Well, the price is in the checked baggage though, Tom. Not. I'm looking at the same thing you're looking at, but the cost is in the checked baggage, not the.
All right, we've been going 40 minutes. I'm sure people don't really care too much about checked baggage costs.
Top tip, guys. Actually use the websites. Don't assume
use the websites. Learn to read English in a proper way. And next week's episode, we'll be listening to Gavin's sordid affairs in Medellin, getting scopolamines. We'll hear about Tom's partying in Miami.
I'll just appear on the podcast whilst I've been scoped. Oh, guys, can I help you?
That's if someone's told you to act like a Hmong.
Okay. Maybe it makes you act like a Hmong. I don't know.
But either way, I hope everyone's enjoyed the episode. Next week, I'm not sure what we'll be talking about other than the usual stuff. If you have any questions or comments, please subscribe. But from the Amazon Nomads, episode 13, I think that's a wrap, chaps.
Peace out, guys.
In the next one.
Any questions?
Go to the pub.
Bye-bye.